your turn
Oh, is it for me?
to consider yourself fired.
Why are you winking at me?
Consider yourself fired.
Hello, and welcome to the JT and Drew Show. I'm JT,
And I'm Drew.
and we're two nobodies talking about nothing.
Consider yourself fired.
Well, hey, bud. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me back, especially
Hey.
after last time.
Well, just don't let the producers lock the door again, please.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, that sounded messy.
It was like it's like I was throwing tomatoes up against the wall or something. Make a pizza.
That's what I was going to say. A little Chef Boyardee behind doors, huh?
Hey, what happens behind closed doors gets recorded on this show. So
That's what I'm talking about. So, what do you have in store for us this episode?
I think this one, or this particular topic, may be a little short
Okay.
as far as, not getting in too much into the weeds of it, but just kind of staying about 10,000 feet up, trying to get the big perspective.
Okay, yeah, sure.
But the topic of interest is the one that's happening now. The date of this recording, which is the Uvalde shooting.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate, and our hearts go out to everyone down there in Uvalde, and we wanted to get that out on the show, and that we can't imagine what anybody's going through, especially those kids.
Yeah, definitely.
And we just, wanted to say that, this is a small show, but we're here if anybody needs to reach out or talk about anything, and we'll
absolutely.
definitely listen.
Absolutely. And I know you and I, we have our own views on guns and gun control and all that stuff, but, no matter where you stand on the issue, it's never okay when something like this happens. People go out and they make bad decisions and do things like this, and it's not called for, it's not justified, it's not anything. They definitely don't represent all the other people out there.
No.
And it's unfortunate, that many times there's red flags, or people are trying to get help or not trying to get help, or not seeing the signs, or seeing the signs and not reporting, or whatever the case, that would help these situations, maybe not necessarily be 100% preventable, but, could kind of put somebody on the trail before it gets that far down.
Exactly, yeah. And a lot of stuff has come out with who's done what, and, people shouldn't have done certain things at certain times, or they should have made a smarter decision within the moment. And I believe, from what I've researched and seen and everything, but I believe it was an off-duty Border Patrol agent who went in there and took care of the situation.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well.
And, God bless that man, because his child was in that school.
Yeah, and I mean, it could have been, who knows, it could have been worse. There could have been more casualties. There could have been any number of things happen if it didn't get stopped, at least at the point that it did get stopped.
Exactly, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, he also, the gentleman that went in there and stopped it also was wounded. I don't think it was anything serious, but I think he did, I don't know if he got grazed or whatever the case, but I think he did take on some fire from the shooter.
Really? Okay. I didn't.
I have to double check
read
that.
Yeah, I didn't hear that or see that, but if he did, as a parent, it would have been well worth it. So.
Oh, definitely.
And not saying that I hope anything bad happens to anybody. But as a parent, if I was in that situation, I think I would have made the same call he did. You're not there to protect your life. You're there to save others.
Right. You kind of got to look at the, not, I don't know what to call it, not the greater cause, the bigger picture. I don't know. I don't know how to say without it sounding the wrong way necessarily, but it's more than you. It's bigger than you.
Right, it's definitely bigger than you. That's not the wrong way to say it.
And I think that's something that we get kind of ingrained in us from the military side of our lives, is you're doing something that's bigger than you. You're out there, you're part of a cause that, not saying that hey, put me in, coach, I'm ready to go just die, but you have the understanding that if something were to happen, you would be potentially intervening on behalf of a whole lot of other people who aren't.
Right. Yeah.
And putting yourself in harm's way.
I guarantee you, those border agents, the sheriff's departments, the SWAT team, everybody has taken that oath to make that ultimate sacrifice.
Yep.
And know the consequences of their actions.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there's been, articles and everything that want to try to push blame and
lots of finger pointing.
Yeah, there's one where one of the teachers opened up the back door, and just a few moments later, he walked in, and there's, in situations like that, you're not gonna think, oh my gosh, active shooter. You're not. No one knows why that teacher opened up the back door except for the fact that she heard a wreck, or she heard a crash, and that was it.
Yeah, but then you have the other side of it too, where, where they're talking about, I forget how many officers they said were either in the hallway or on the outside of the building ready to go in, but that they were being told by their commander or whoever was in charge to stand by.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I think at that point, if you're ready to go, and somebody says, "Well, stand down," they're in a holding position or they're barricaded or whatever. I don't know. I'm not in that situation. I can't speak for those guys, but I think I would have to break orders and continue with what I was doing because it's the kids.
Yeah, and like you said, not in the position. Can't really, I can't say, oh, yeah, well, without a doubt, I would have done X, Y, or Z because I've never been put in that position.
Yeah.
I can't say with certainty. However, like you just said, hit the nail on the head. I think you have to, if you're on the ground and you're there, you kind of have to assess that situation. And, it's not like, well, it's just a suspect in a vacant building who's barricaded himself. All right, yeah, let's wait him out. You've got a classroom full of kids. You've got other classrooms. You've got walls that rounds can go through potentially or what have you. So much collateral damage that can take place. You, not to say need to disobey orders necessarily, but it's what comes across my mind is the, what's that adage? Like shoot first, or no, not shoot first. I'm sorry. Whatever, act and ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, hey, you know what? We need to make an executive decision. We need to go in there, stop this guy. We can apologize for it later. I'll take whatever.
Yeah, whatever blame comes down.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. As a supervisor, you would say, I'll take the blame. You guys will not get any negative impact from this. This will all be put on me, but let's go.
Right. Yeah, I mean, even if you can save one life. That's one more or one less casualty.
Yeah.
But again, easy for us to say, in hindsight and whatnot, we're not in that position, but it's just something that comes to mind.
It does. And it's on everybody's mind, it's again, at the time of this recording, this is still fresh. Yeah. This is still talked about. It's still in the news. Everybody's still upset about it. And again, our hearts go out to the people of Uvalde who have to deal with this. So, I mean, we can again, anybody can sit there and say, well, I could do this or I would have done this. And would you have? I mean, in that situation, would you have? If you know who you are and you know the kind of person you are, then yeah, maybe you would have. But, when put in a stressful situation like that, you've got to weigh your options. Again, as a parent, there's no weight to that option except save the children. I'm not saying that you have to be a parent to make that decision. That's not what I'm saying at all. But you know that all those little people in there, they have their whole lives ahead of them. I'm 35 years old. I've lived my life, ultimately. And if I can take out the suspect, but something happens to me, then so be it. Yeah. So that's a little topic, and I kind of want to gear it towards the other issue that's happening along with this. And I know you had said it earlier, we're not going to talk about this, but I kind of do want to talk about gun control. Because, again, it is brought up. It's a hot topic. I think we've kind of skirted on this on one of our episodes in season 1, where this is a situation. It's a terrible situation that's happened.
Yeah.
But is gun control needed for this type of situation or any type of future situations?
Well, I think right off the bat, we have gun control. We have the background checks. Those are conducted anytime you go to purchase a firearm. There isn't a place where you can go, a store, a certified FFL firearms dealer, where you will go to purchase a gun, whether it's a pistol, rifle, shotgun, where they will not do a background check. Now, if I purchase a gun and then I sell it to you, well, yeah, I'm not necessarily doing a background check. I don't have that capability. I'm not whatever. That's a different story. But as far as going and purchasing these through, again, a firearms dealer, or you go to Academy Sports or Walmart if they're selling a shotgun or something, or what your local gun store, they do the background checks. They do the age verification. And it's not the store just doing a check. I mean, I think it goes a check through the FBI or something. It's bigger than just, let me do my little, hey, look, I put a check in the box. I did a background check. You seem like a cool dude.
Yeah.
Or a cool gal. So those things are already in place. The age limits are in place. There's all these things in place, and then there are things that make it illegal, right? If you have or are in possession or own and you're not of age, okay, well, that's illegal. If you decide to go on a shooting rampage, that's illegal. It's, to me, I see it as these shootings, these mass shootings, whatever you want to label them, they're very unfortunate and there's no need for them at all. However, well, not however to that. However, I don't think you need to punish the masses that are responsible. You sent me that article from the Canadian government talking to their people.
Yeah, Justin Trudeau.
And Trudeau was telling his people, he said, that he was wanting to ban or put a freeze on the sale of all guns, handguns, rifles, shotguns, whatever.
And their ammunition.
And he said, and he admitted that the majority of the people there are responsible owners. And he said, but the reality is that, people don't need an AR-15 or, large caliber, max capacity, whatever, high capacity.
Assault style
weapons to go hunting or to this or that. And they certainly don't need them to protect themselves.
Yeah, that's where I would have had to cut him off and say, due to the current circumstances, I do need to protect myself. Now, whether it's a handgun, or as the fearless leader said, just grab a shotgun. You know,
Yeah. Well, and who are they to tell me that I don't need that to protect myself? Because they have armed details. So then you should get rid of your armed detail. You don't need that to protect yourself. Yeah, you're more in the spotlight than I am. But, just have them carry knives. Or have them do karate.
Yeah. If you don't know how to grapple somebody on the ground, I guess you're SOL.
Because if all of the law-abiding citizens forfeit their rights, and I know I was talking about Canada, but back to the U.S., if all of the law-abiding citizens forfeit their rights, get rid of their weapons, and the non-law-abiding citizens, the bad guys, are going out and committing these crimes anyway, you're going to have more victims, less people shooting back and stopping these guys, and more victims that couldn't defend themselves.
Right. Because and I'm gonna not stop you. I am gonna interrupt you. The response time, I know. The response time for when you call 911, they get to the dispatcher puts in the information to whether it's the police department or fire and medical, whoever it needs to be, EMTs. That takes time. So their response time could be anywhere between 2 minutes to 15 minutes, depending on where these officers or whatever are located.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you, but in a intense situation like that, 2 minutes, just 2 minutes, is a lifetime of waiting.
Oh yeah, 2 minutes. I remember doing some training with security forces dudes on one of my deployments, and they put you basically you're fighting with somebody else, and you've got to go for 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And as the 2 minutes progress, right, you start off, okay, you're at 30 seconds, you're at a minute, whatever. Now you're fighting 2 people. And then they throw a third person. They just keep throwing people in there, and you are exhausted by the end of the 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So, and if you've ever run a race or did like track or cross country or PT test, whatever, 2 minutes is a long time when you're, fighting for your life, basically.
On a PT test, yes.
Heck yeah.
But, time slows down when your adrenaline is kicking in. You're trying to keep a level head. You're not trying to freak out too much. And 2 minutes is, these leaders are going to say, well, the best thing for you to do is just run. Okay. What about grandma in a wheelchair? What about, a really large man who can't
run? What if you can't seek shelter or cover? Look at this exact situation with the school shooting. What if the shooter comes into your place of business, your home, your school, whatever the case, and they're in the same room as you?
Yeah.
Where are you going to run? Where are you going to hide?
In this latest one is a school shooting, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was one not too far after this that was in Oklahoma. I don't remember the town's name. Again, a terrible situation. I think a total of 8 individuals were, 7 were injured. I think 1 had passed away. Again, our hearts go out to those folks as well. But that's an open area. That was an outdoor festival for Memorial Day. You've got places to run, but...
Well, look at the Las Vegas concert shooting.
That
happened back, 2014, was it? 2015, somewhere around there?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Now, I think what kind of trips people up, too, when it comes to these types of debates or arguments or topics, whatever, is you get politicians in particular, that will talk about these things, and they don't necessarily fully understand or have all the facts about these weapons, and they just start spewing off information, whatever they think they know or what they've heard, and it kind of, I don't want to say puts into fear-mongering, but it plays into the disinformation game. because
Yeah.
you've got, like Trudeau was talking about, these assault style rifles are not meant for hunting, that they are meant for killing people. Well, I mean, again, newsflash, they're all the legal ones are semi-automatic, and for those that don't know, semi-automatic, all that means is you pull the trigger and only one bullet comes out.
Yeah.
And then I release the trigger and then I pull it again and another bullet comes out. I can't hold the trigger down and, it just goes bang, 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 bang. It's not a machine gun. It doesn't have a full automatic. It functions the same way as a handgun functions.
Or as a shotgun.
Or as a shotgun. So there's really no difference other than the size of it, the different caliber of round that you're using. But it functions. You point it, you pull the trigger once, one round comes out. You pull the trigger again, another round comes out. So whether it's a rifle or a pistol or a shotgun, it really just depends on the shooter. How fast can they pull that trigger and how fast can they reload?
Yeah, exactly. And if you've had that weapon for long enough and you're training with it, and I mean, even if you're in your room training with it, unloading and loading real quick, and you're putting the magazine in and taking it out and grabbing from your belt or from a pouch or from your pocket or whatever, how quick can you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Reload, recharge the weapon, and go again. That is what it boils down to. Now, again, I'm not 100% that we're going to catch all of these, what they're calling mental issue patients, or not patients, cases.
Right.
We're not gonna catch them all. I get that. There's flaws in the system, but it takes the community to identify the people who are going about, who are not right, who they need to identify that person so then they can get help. But at the same time, law enforcement they have their hands tied as far as what they can and can't do based off the law.
Well, yeah, this isn't Minority Report. I can't say, well, a week from now, JT was planning on going and shooting up a school, so we're going to arrest him now.
Yeah. Or he might have posted online on some social media site, either whether it be Facebook or Snapchat or, whatever these things are, and saying, oh, well, he said that he really hates the mall and he, wouldn't mind if there was a disaster there or something. You can't do that.
Right, or posted pictures of his weapons or whatever. Like you said, their hands are tied until something is afoot.
Yeah.
They can't do anything. And like you said, it starts, I think, even more so than the community, it starts at home.
Yes.
Mom, dad, or grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, whoever is watching you as a child, and I'm saying child, 21 younger, 18 younger, whatever you are, staying at home. Are they noticing signs? Do they, hey, yeah, my kid might be bipolar, but whatever.
Yeah.
Or, oh, my kid, is really struggling with these things. Maybe we need to see a therapist, or maybe we need to see the doctor, get diagnosed, not get diagnosed, whatever.
Right.
Instead of just letting stuff, well, in a couple of years they'll be out of my house.
Yeah. Well, let me clarify on what I meant by community. So your community would be the household first, but then it would be any friends or associates that person may have, because those are going to be the closest people to you. Yep. And then it goes to acquaintances that may know of this person, who may know of something that happens. On the backside, supposedly and again, this is all hearsay. The guy that did the Uvalde shooting, he went into the woods and supposedly did harm to animals. And he would go to parks and pick fights with people. Now, if people know that that's happening, then maybe they need to call that in, i.e. the community, friends, family, acquaintances, something. Again, the law enforcement is bound by the law to react to what people are doing. They cannot force somebody to go off of, he said, she said.
Right, and this kind of goes back into conversations that we've had in the past at work and whatnot. When you're dealing with difficult employees or what have you, but documentation is everything.
Right.
If he's going and beating kids up after school, or I think I read a report where it said he had a sack of like dead kittens that he had just tortured and mutilated. If this stuff is happening and the police are able to make reports on it, or law enforcement, whoever, be able to make reports on it, get it documented, get it in the system, when he goes to make that purchase, it should flag. And whoa, he can't do this. He's got this record. He's got to wait X amount of years, or he can't ever do this, or whatever the situation is. But if there is no documentation, if nobody reports anything, hey, I just get beat up every day after school and I don't say anything, I don't speak up because I'm too scared or what have you, not putting the blame on the victim. But if you don't say anything, that stuff doesn't have the opportunity to get documented.
Right.
Now, there are some law enforcement that are not so great, that maybe they just turn a blind eye and, I really don't care, kids beating up kids, whatever. There's bad apples everywhere.
Yep, there sure are.
And like we said earlier, finger pointing goes every direction. There's no perfect scenario. But that stuff has to be documented. The systems are in place. I just don't think they're necessarily being used to their full potential.
I agree. I don't think they are as well. But, if nobody knows about it, then we can't utilize the full potential of what's already out there.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
But yeah, this one just kind of hit home. I thank the producers for letting us hop on for just a little bit and just kind of giving our 2 cents out there. Again, to everybody in Uvalde, people in Oklahoma, and anywhere that this has happened. Our hearts go out to you. We see it. We watch it. We feel for you. And it, for me personally, it puts a fear that, Uvalde, that was a small town.
Right.
That people seem to know, not everybody knows everybody, but it was a tight-knit community. And we live in a small city, large town. And so then it comes into, well, when is it going to happen here? Not if. There's no more ifs. But when is it going to happen? And, you just kind of think, do I need to be prepared?
We just had Cinco de Mayo. The church right next door to my church, where they had a teenager. They were having a Cinco de Mayo celebration outside in the parking lot, had a band, all this good stuff. And this teenager randomly, apparently they say it was random, he didn't know anybody, and he's walking through the crowd stabbing people.
Oh my goodness.
And I think they ended up sending like 5 people to the hospital, and luckily it wasn't anything major. They had some off-duty sheriff's deputies there that were able to apprehend the guy. But it, again, like you said, it could happen anywhere, it could happen anytime. That one wasn't particularly a shooting, but it was just a random dude who showed up to a Cinco de Mayo celebration at a church parking lot, just stabbing people. Why? It doesn't matter. I don't think people should get complacent, and people shouldn't just brush it off like, oh, well, that's not going to happen here, or, well, somebody else will protect me. You really got to start thinking about, how do I protect myself? How do I protect my family?
Yeah, how do I protect my friends? That's a big one. Maybe you don't have, maybe you're like us, military town. You get stationed here, you don't know nobody, but you find a good church or outdoor group or whatever to go out with on the weekends, and you find those things, and then all of a sudden this event happens again. That guy didn't even have a gun, he just had a knife.
Yeah.
So how do you protect yourself, and how do you protect the others around you? And you've got to do what's best for you. If you don't believe in firearms, more power to you.
Definitely.
If you want to get into some sort of karate class or mixed martial arts, jiu-jitsu, whatever it may be, and that's your outlet on how you're going to protect people, then by God, do it. And do it to the fullest. If you are into firearms and you're not afraid of things like that, I would say, and again, I'm not trying to put fear into anybody, but buy more rounds that you can, buy your target shooting rounds and just go out and just practice. I know down in, it's just outside of Fredericksburg, they have a course where you go and you do some training on how do you load your weapon faster, how do you get it out of your holster faster, and it's like this tactical training. My brother went to it, said it was amazing. It's 3 days. It's like 3 days, and you get to hang out in Fredericksburg. He goes, that was the best part. He goes, but the course was really good too. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of opened his perspective on how do I get faster? How do I be better? How do I have better timing? And aim down the line to get the perpetrator of this, the suspect. Yeah. And if that's the way you want to go, then do it. There's no right answer. There's no right answer to stop this. Again, like you, I don't think more gun control is the answer. I think these politicians are trying to calm people down.
Sure.
The louder people, they're trying to calm those people down by implementing these control of firearms and weapons and distribution of ammo and buying and selling and all that. I think they're trying to calm them down, but at the same time, they're putting their people at risk for a higher casualty count.
Yeah, they're potentially making more victims.
Yeah, and so again,
I mean, look at the Prohibition period, right? Alcohol was illegal. What did people do? They made speakeasies.
They sure did.
Hey, we're still going to do it. We're just going to do it in secrecy.
Mm-hmm. And there's nothing you can do about it.
And then made it legal. And look at the war on drugs.
Yeah.
They're still illegal, yet people are still producing them. They're still selling them. They're still moving it, whether it's from across the border or from this city to this city or in your own backyard. Who knows? But it's still happening. So I don't think getting any tighter on the restrictions or implementing more restrictions or saying, oh, well, we're going to make even deeper background checks or put a restriction on the guns. You could restrict all of them. Mm-hmm. You could say, you know what? It's illegal to look at a gun. And I guarantee you there's still going to be another mass shooting. There's still going to be more gun crime because where there's a will, there's a way. And the bad guys are going to do bad guy things. They're going to procure those weapons, and they're going to do bad things.
Yeah.
And then what are you going to do? You've already taken them away from the good guys, so you can't get stricter gun control.
Yeah, and you're not funding your police departments so they can respond faster.
Yeah, I mean, look at crack cocaine, methamphetamine, all these things, they're illegal. They still happen. They still kill a lot of people. People overdose. People buy from other people, sell to other people, produce it, whatever. It's illegal. How is making it more illegal going to keep it from happening? But the good guys aren't doing it.
No.
So, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I think if we have anybody that's listening that would like to chime in, would like to provide a different perspective or something maybe we haven't thought about, or would like to help us see it from your perspective, definitely shoot us an email. The link will be in the description below.
It's also at the end of the show.
Yeah, it'll be at the end of the show. But I would be very interested to hear what other folks have to say.
They really would. So please chime in. And hey, give us a shout. We'll even put you on the show.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity. If you'd like to be on the show and make your voice heard and share your thoughts and opinions with everyone else as well.
Yeah. So, well, all right, man. I will catch you later. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for having me again, and great topic, again, very unfortunate, but I think these conversations need to be had, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I agree. So let's try and have more conversations that are not in this particular subject, but, are just as interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right, man. Well, we'll catch you later.
All right. Bye.
As always, we'd like to say thank you for stopping by and listening to the podcast.
Yeah, we realized that you could have been doing anything way more productive, but you chose to waste your time with us.
We look forward to talking about absolutely nothing with you next time.
If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, please email us at
jtandrewshow@gmail.com or visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/JTDrewShow.